In this world, the only way to become a hunter is through tower climbing, scaling the structure from floor 1 to 100, a game system designed to make you stronger the higher you climb, a clear path of level progression. Every potential hunter is summoned to the tower before their awakening, becoming warriors who can fight in dungeons, but the tower's tutorial alone causes 80% to fail. E-rank hunters are eliminated at floor 10, while D-rank hunters can reach floor 20. C ranks make it to 30, B ranks to 40, and A ranks to 50. Our protagonist was startled when he was suddenly kicked hard in the rear by a large man, sending him sprawling. Before Huyu could even process what happened, a mana barrier was erected. The large man smirked sinisterly as he started a live stream on his phone, saying, "Hey everyone, it's been a while. The dog kicker is back with a battle between the porter and a hellhound. The broadcast starts now, so place your bets on who will win. Come on, show some support everyone." Just then a pack of hellhounds appeared from nowhere and charged toward Huyu. However, instead of panicking and fighting back, Huyu turned and threatened them. "You bastards, today you're going to learn what death feels like." Seeing a guy who was just a normal person making such threats, the hunters weren't scared at all and just laughed mockingly. "Oh my, I'm so scared. But you're the one who's going to die." But Huyu wasn't just bluffing. He immediately pulled a whistle from his pocket and blew it with all his might. The piercing sound was heard by the surrounding hellhounds, and they instantly flew into a frenzy, charging toward the source of the sound. The hunters finally started to feel fear, lowering the barrier and rushing forward to stop Huyu. But it was far too late. A massive horde of hellhounds charged in, ferociously tearing the other hunters to shreds. Huyu flashed a satisfied smile. "I told you all, today you'll know the taste of death," but he couldn't savor the moment for long, as a gigantic hound targeted him. Just when he thought it was all over, a brilliant light flashed in Huyu's consciousness. The light seemed to be pulling him somewhere, and with it came a voice. "Conditions have been met. The tower invites you." After snapping out of his stupor, Huyu was drenched in sweat, gasping for breath and in disbelief that he had just died. But as he thought it over, he realized he had been summoned by the tower and was brought back to life by a special coin. Inside the tower, even if you die, you can be revived using these issued coins. The number of coins each person receives is different, and you won't know your total until the tutorial ends. While Huyu was still bewildered about what to do next, a status window suddenly appeared. "Hello Huyu. Welcome to the tower. You are on floor 1. The tutorial covers floors 1 through 5. Continue your tower climbing." Huyu used his hand to touch the interface, his mind racing. "This game system window confirms it. I'm really in the tower. I've waited for this day, researching everything I could from the government and the Hunters Association. I even trained to prepare for this. The opportunity is finally here. I have to stay calm. I must stay calm," Huyu told himself as he stepped through the gate. He knew that if he rushed, this rare opportunity would be wasted. After stepping through the gate, Huyu found himself in a vast grassy field, and waiting for him was a goblin. The system window appeared again. Quest defeat 1 goblin. This was exactly like the information in the guides provided by the government and the associations for the first stage of level progression. While Huyu was assessing the situation, the goblin suddenly charged. Provoked, Huyu became enraged, immediately drawing his dagger and attacking first to gain the advantage, even though he hadn't officially become a hunter yet. But thanks to careful preparation and years of training, Huyu's physical abilities were far superior to those of an ordinary person. He charged forward and kicked the goblin, sending it flying and knocking its teeth out. Not giving the goblin a chance to react, Huyu rushed in and pinned it to the ground. He then delivered a finishing blow with his dagger, and the goblin's blood splattered everywhere as it died on the spot. That's the price for messing with the main character. Afterward, a notification from the game system appeared announcing the mission was complete and the first floor cleared. Huyu then boasted cockily, "There's nothing to it if this is all it takes." But as the old saying goes, pride comes before a fall. Just as Huyu stood up, he was attacked by another goblin, stabbed from behind and died instantly. That notification panel was a complete lie. Huyu lay in a pool of his own blood continuously cursing. He couldn't believe he had died so foolishly. But luckily, this game system didn't just give you 1 life. Huyu lost 1 coin and was resurrected at the previous checkpoint. As soon as he revived, he immediately thought about what had just happened. The guide said there was only 1. So does that mean the government and the guild spread false information? How could they do that? I don't know why they would do that, but there's nothing I can do about it now. I just have to press on. After pulling himself together, Huyu stepped through the gate, beginning his tower climbing journey on the first floor for a second time. But this time he waited for 3 hours and still didn't see that goblin. Huasu knew he would be taken down if he acted rashly, especially since he didn't know the total number of goblins. He carefully hid in the bushes, trying not to make a sound. A while later, Huyu spotted a goblin. It was skipping along while singing a silly tune. "For the first time I see a shiny dime. For the first time I think it will be mine." Huyu didn't act rashly and decided to follow it from a distance. Just as he suspected, the goblin led him right to its lair. It was a magnificent castle hidden deep in the forest, and the very goblin that had killed him earlier was there with it. The two goblins were gathered around something that looked like a statue. It appeared to be an item, but Huyu didn't remember any such thing being mentioned in the guide. Could there have been a mistake? Huyu then recalled an interview with a famous hunter he saw on TV. The hunter had said that successful tower climbing requires finding hidden treasures and rare items to advance to the higher floors. That's why Huyu became determined to obtain the item before him. He drew his dagger and attacked first to seize the advantage. In a surprise attack, one goblin was stabbed through the stomach and died instantly. Before the other could even react, Huyu sent it to meet its maker. Does this guy look like a newbie at all? Every move is a critical hit. He's as overpowered as a cheater. After defeating the two goblins, the notification for completing the first floor appeared once more. Huyu then went to pick up his prize, the statue. But as soon as he touched it, the statue began to shake violently, then cracked open to reveal a dazzling golden light. At that moment, a notification from the game system popped up. First on the server, you have obtained the Statue of Lunati. Unique hidden quest. Lunati's arrangement. Defeat goblins. 2 out of 2. Obtain the Statue of Lunati. 1 out of 1. Reward. The Lunatic's arrangement. How fortunate. A true adventurer, you have been freed by the Lunatic's arrangement from the very beginning. Congratulations, you have received the S-rank skill Stargazer's Eye. Even when the stars do not shine, they always exist. Man in the dark sky. You can now see hidden information. This amazing level progression reward made Huyu shout with joy after reading the notification. Wow, I just got an S-rank skill. The highest ranked skill ever recorded was 3A, owned by the S-rank hunter Kim Han-san. But I got an S-rank skill which is even higher than 3A. This is insane. Truly absolutely insane. Huyu then struggled to figure out how to use this amazing skill. When he focused on the notification window, it changed. First floor completely scanned, no hidden information. If he uses this skill well, Huyu can obtain all the hidden items on every floor during his tower climbing journey. This is a total hack. After confirming there was nothing left on the first floor, Huyu happily headed straight for the second floor. He thought his life was about to turn golden because of this overpowered skill, but reality hit him hard. Just as Huyu stepped through the gate, an arrow pierced his shoulder. Clutching his wounded shoulder as he ran, he cursed, "Damn that government and those scumbags from the guild." They didn't mention anything about the goblins having weapons. The mission for the second floor was as simple as the first. It was to defeat one goblin, but because he had blindly trusted the guide, Huyu almost died. He blamed himself for not preparing for unexpected variables, but blaming himself now was useless. Huyu used a healing item to mend his arrow-pierced shoulder, and the wound immediately vanished without a trace. Huyu also felt much better. Huyu carefully assessed the situation. The goblin's sense of smell is incredibly keen, so they would eventually track him down. Its weapon is terrifying. How am I supposed to take it down? Just then, Huyu's hand touched something sticky and yellow. His insight skill activated instantly. Tree bark essence can help you avoid detection by goblins. Do you accept? Applying it to your body. It seems this skill finds the most relevant information depending on the situation. And people say this isn't a hack. With this in hand, Huyu was confident he could complete this floor's mission. He decided he would no longer run away, but instead go on the offensive. The goblin, unable to smell its prey, was wandering around searching. Like a clueless fool, it had no idea that it had now become the prey. Huyu was already hiding in a tree, covered in a thick layer of the tree bark essence. When the target moved into position, Huyu immediately leaped down onto the goblin. By the time it realized what was happening, it was too late. It was struck by a powerful blow from Huyu and died on the spot. A notification for completing the second floor appeared, along with a reward of 300 points for using the tree bark essence. It seems that depending on how you complete the mission, the rewards you receive will also differ. But that wasn't all. Thanks to his skill, Insight, a surprise notification appeared. Remove the claw from the goblin's left hand. Could something good be about to happen? Following the notification, Huyu pulled out the goblin's glowing claw and prepared to head to the gate, continuing his level progression. At that moment, the game system announced that the second floor was now safe and provided food and water. During the tutorial phase, participants are provided with food and water each time they complete a floor, so there's no fear of starvation. Along with that, the community system was also unlocked. Huyu's main server was Korea. He browsed around for a bit and saw a few posts about there being more than one goblin on the first floor. It seemed that not everyone faced the same situation. Huyu had been lucky enough to discover a hidden reward and gain an overpowered skill, while other players could only curse helplessly without getting a damn thing. After seeing that the complaining posts were getting heavily flamed, Huyu decided to join the discussion. Understanding the mindset of those thirsty guys, Hayek registered his nickname as Beautiful Princess. And so his post from a trap attracted a ton of engagement from guys desperate for girls, which was exactly Hayek's intention. By deliberately using typos and acting cute, he hoped to find comrades among those facing a situation similar to his own. But it seemed this method was a bit of a pain. After exploring the community feature, Hyuksu headed straight to the gate for some more tower climbing, reaching the third floor. Unlike the previous two floors, the third floor was surprisingly a long corridor with stone walls. The space ahead was a deep abyss with howling winds, making Hyuksu a little fearful. The mission for this floor wasn't about fighting monsters, but about navigating traps. Before Hyuksu could react, a cluster of sharp spears shot up from the ground, nearly skewering him. Hayek was so terrified his legs gave out and he fell backward. Damn it, I almost bought the farm. In the official guide, they said to reach out your hand to find traps, didn't they? They must want people to lose their limbs. I still don't understand why the government provides such a useless guide. After being fooled multiple times, Hyuksu decided to not trust a single soul and to rely only on his own cheat-like skill from the game system. After activating his stargazing eye, the eyes of Hayek instantly transformed, emitting a blue light. The location of every single trap in the corridor became crystal clear. With this information, Hyuksu easily navigated past every trap without a single scratch. Even with this hack, he still had to break a sweat to safely clear the third floor. This tower is absolutely insane. I wonder how other players could even pass this floor without spending a fortune. Afterwards, a notification for safely clearing the third floor appeared, along with a reward of 1,000 points for taking no damage, accompanied by a special lunchbox with a 200% buff effect. Hyuksu savored the delicious meal while recalling the convoluted series of traps he had just overcome. At that moment, a status window popped up. Hyuksu suddenly remembered this part of the game system. That's right. After clearing the third floor, I can view my own stat sheet. Overall, my stats are about average, but why is my magic stat a cut above the rest? I heard magic is an innate talent, but I never thought my magic stat would be the highest in this training group. A great start for my level progression. Is this what it means to be a genius? After eating his fill, Hyuksu decided to go shake things up in the virtual residential area on the 30th floor. Choi Sung-moo, a notorious member of the Sangun Guild, sighed while lighting a cigarette. I only have one chance left. But if I can't reach C rank, the guild, especially the guildmaster, will surely kill me because of the secrets I know. Just as he slammed the table in frustration, a subordinate rushed in to report. Boss, have you checked the community yet? In the training section, another troublemaker has shown up. Choi Sung-moo wasn't too concerned, but he still decided to open the community and take a look. The community was buzzing about a guide posted by someone named Beautiful Princess, who was none other than our Hyuksu. He had revealed information about all the traps on the third floor and also advised newbies not to trust the guides from the government and the guilds. Naturally, this action provoked the interests of the higher-ups. They deliberately spread misinformation to make sure that those not affiliated with the government or the guilds would. How insidious! After reading the post, Choi Sung-moo was furious. His blood boiled and he practically burst into flames. Choi Seong-mo smashed the table with one hand, scaring his subordinate half to death, and then roared, "Send men to find and capture that bastard for me right now." The terrified subordinate immediately scrambled off to carry out the order. Choi Seong-mo was absolutely livid at this moment. If he couldn't deal with this guy, his own head would roll. Damn it! I don't care who that bastard is, but how dare he interfere with the floors managed by Sangun? I'll kill you. Meanwhile, Huyu was still completely unaware of how serious his actions had been, casually enjoying his lunch. As he was enjoying his meal, a notification window from the Shui game system popped up. Because Huyu's strategy will be useful to future players, you will be awarded the title Strategist. This title boosts all stats by a +10, a significant step in his level progression. Contribution points will be calculated based on the level and the number of responses to the strategy. Depending on the situation, contribution points may also decrease. The contribution Points Huyu currently has are 52, and he needs another 48 points for the next reward. Huyu, who was drinking water, nearly choked to death, a title. Wait, isn't this a super rare class that is absolutely essential for Gimiji level progression? To become a top-tier hunter? What's more, the title I received. It is an evolving type that comes with an entire reward system capable of boosting all my stats. Damn this guy. I just got another cheat skill. Huyu then checked the comments on his post. It seemed that thanks to his guide, many people had successfully cleared the third floor of this challenging tower climbing adventure without wasting their resources needlessly. Huyu couldn't help but imagine the teammates who would one day fight by his side. However, besides those positive responses, there were countless comments refuting the information. In Huyu's post, all of those trolls were from the Sogen Guild. They were intentionally trying to run a smear campaign against Huyu, but Huyu wasn't the least bit intimidated and even flashed a wicked grin. But what can you losers possibly do? I will expose all the lies you've spread. While you're all frantically searching for me, I'll have already grown stronger than your entire pathetic group. Truly, a guy with this many cheat skills can afford to trash talk so brazenly. Afterwards, thanks to his Stargazer's Eye skill, Huyu easily cleared the hidden area on the third floor, the pit to the underworld, and acquired rare items crucial for his tower climbing journey. These items have a use right now, but they will certainly be essential in the future. After looting everything, Huyu headed out towards the fourth floor. Based on the information from Stargazer's Eye, Huyu easily scaled the cliff and successfully harvested the Ilmok herb, and just like that, the fourth floor was cleared with incredible speed, a feat completely different from what the official government and guild information suggested. Huyu sat atop the mountain peak screaming in delight. No one ever mentioned that the cliff's height depends on the number of items you've collected. If I had tried to climb it right away, I would have fallen 100 times and been smashed to bits. That damn thing! Just then the magic stone Huyu, as he had obtained on the third floor, rolled out of his backpack, revealing a name inscribed upon it. Information about that name instantly appeared thanks to his Stargazer's Eye skill. John Trapper the Sage reached the 92nd floor a very long time ago. He decided to conquer a tower using only the artificial life forms he created, the homunculi. This new detail about tower climbing left Huyu utterly baffled by the information he had just received. The 92nd floor, but isn't humanity's record the 64th floor held by Demi Daniel? And what the hell are homunculi? What is going on in this tower? Does this mean the tower has existed since ancient times, completely unknown to us? After thinking for a while and getting nowhere, Huyu decided to stop overthinking it, shouldered his backpack and moved on, figuring he'd just go with the flow. Let's just continue our tower climbing like before. This is the final floor of the tutorial, so let's do this. Huyu was brimming with determination. As he moved forward and stepped onto the fifth floor, a flood of notification windows from the game system appeared. On the fifth floor, Huyu would have to defeat a boss to clear this stage. There was also a hidden skill box somewhere in this mountainous area, and along with it the reward system. Jetson and the skill window were also unlocked. The difficulty of this stage would adjust based on an assessment of the player's stats and level progression. Huyu was assessed as having S-rank strength, so the difficulty skyrocketed. Before Huyu could even react, to all the notifications, a giant boss suddenly appeared. The game system then displayed information about the boss, Merman Warrior. He's 3-star, half human, half monster. Its body was covered in greenish-yellow scales, and it attacked its enemies with fangs and trident. This was a downgraded version with an environmental disadvantage on land. The Merman Warrior could not use its skills while on dry land. Huyu hadn't even finished reading all this information when the boss suddenly charged at him. Huyu had no choice but to dodge. He dodged the lethal attacks. If even one of them connected, he would be instantly killed. This monster was stronger than everything Huyu had ever faced combined. With no other option, he had to make a run for it, but Huyu didn't give up hope. As he ran, he desperately searched for the hidden skill boxes. After some searching, he found 2 low-grade boxes and 2 high-grade boxes. There was also a mid-grade box, but it was too far away. Without a second thought, Huyu made a beeline for the 2 nearest low-grade skill boxes, praying the entire time that he would get a useful skill. After opening a box, he immediately used the F-rank smokescreen skill he just received. Even though it was only an F-rank skill in this particular situation, it was incredibly useful. The smoke obstructed the boss's vision, buying Huyu a bit of time, or so he thought. The boss let out a single roar and the smoke instantly dissipated. Huyu quickly used his second skill, which was tiptoe, an E-rank haste skill, to flee toward the next skill box. But just as he was about to reach it, the boss suddenly leaped forward and caught him with ease. This game's difficulty is insane. It's completely unreasonable. Huyu struggled in futility before throwing his sword at the boss. The blade plunged into its shoulder, causing the boss to roar in pain. Enraged, it threw Huyu forward with tremendous force, shattering the earth and rock around him. But it didn't stop there. The boss raised its trident, preparing to finish its target. Fortunately, the rock Huyu had crashed into was actually a mid-grade skill box. Because of that, he obtained the B-rank fireball skill. But before he had a chance to rejoice, the boss sent him flying with a mighty kick. Huyu crashed right through a cliff face. He didn't seem to be severely injured. As he crawled out, he cursed, "It didn't even give me a second to celebrate. What's the big rush, you stinking fish?" The insult seemed to displease the boss. It readied its trident to skewer its prey and have it for dinner. But Huyu seized the opportunity while the boss was gathering power and plunged his knife into its leg. The boss was hit by a wave of pain and lost all reason, shrieking as it attacked wildly. Huyu deftly avoided the onslaught and then used the fireball skill to launch an immediate counterattack. A massive hole was blasted through the boss's abdomen, turning it into a donut as it collapsed to the ground. Just when you thought, it would pass on peacefully, Huyu said, "Like hell you will." He walked over and completely obliterated the upper half of the boss's body. A notification from the game system immediately popped up. "You have defeated a powerful enemy. Your courage is commendable. You have..." He received 1,500 points. Huyu, completely exhausted, collapsed to the ground and raised his hands in celebration. I won! I won! But since the difficulty of this floor was higher than normal, the rewards from the game system didn't stop there. You will receive an additional reward for clearing the 5th floor. The reward will be determined based on the boss's rank. Evaluating a suitable reward. Ali now. Immediately after, a blinding light in the sky forced Huyu to shut his eyes. Suddenly, something flew out from within the light, and landed right on Huyu's face. When he took a closer look, he realized it was a fat frog and a notification window appeared. This was his reward, a pet. Just as Huyu was about to complain, the frog slapped him. It then leaped from Huyu's hands, landing with flair. The frog's information then appeared on the system interface. Chaos Frog. Abilities unknown. This frog appeared when the Merman Warrior was summoned. Its stats are unknown because, it is a creature of the Chaos Realm. Currently, the frog is stronger than its master. Huyu, holding his aching cheek, widened his eyes in shock. He couldn't believe a frog was stronger than him, and to make matters worse, it was his pet. How humiliating. The game system then displayed a tip. Pets share a bond with their master. Therefore, try to communicate with them more. If communication is ineffective and the master is weaker, the pet may bite its master. This warning worried Huyu. It'll really bite me if I'm weaker. Is it actually stronger than me? As if reading Huyu's mind, the frog casually spat out a glob of phlegm. But this glob was purple and could melt solid rock. Witnessing this, Huyu was finally convinced. It really is stronger than me, but I can't just let it be. You'd think Huyu would grab his weapon and fight a 300-round battle with the frog to prove who was the boss here. But what the heck? He packed his bags and waved goodbye to his pet. You don't always have to follow your master, so you can just stay here and live your best life, little one. I'm heading out now, Huyu said as he turned to leave. But the frog had no reaction. The silence was unnerving to Huyu. It's not going to get mad and Shaki bit that glob at me, is it? He stood frozen in place, too scared to move, breaking out in a cold sweat. Just then, the Chinent frog suddenly jumped onto Huyu's shoulder and sprawled out comfortably. And just like that, Huyu's plan succeeded. He immediately switched to a sweet-talking tone. Well, if that's the case, let's go together, all right? Let's be companions. Little froggy. Damn, doesn't he sound just like a player? And so one man and one frog stepped straight into the portal. This was the next stage of his tower climbing journey. A notification popped up. Congratulations on completing the tutorial. The system's limitations have been lifted. Please follow the guide. Welcome to the 6th floor, the safe zone. All injuries will gradually heal here. PK is forbidden here. You will be marked as a murderer if you kill another person. You will now receive a guidebook. The scenery of the 6th floor made Huishu's eyes widen in amazement. The area was filled with numerous buildings and other people who had completed their level progression through the tutorial. The frog on his shoulder let out a bored croak. Huishu immediately corrected it. "Hey, Froggy, what's with that attitude?" I'm still hoping we can show each other some respect, as its master Huishu could vaguely understand and what his pet was trying to say. He then asked the frog its name for convenience. The frog replied that its name was for its master to decide. As Huisu racked his brain, he thought a name given by its master. You're the only one who's ever called me master. But you're a giant frog, and you're even stronger than me with that chaos attribute and all? Alright, I've got it. I'll give you a really cool name." Hearing this, the little frog's eyes lit up, thinking it was about to receive some super elite pro-level name, but it was utterly disappointed. "Deokchan, from now on, you will be Super Chaos Frog Deokchan." Although the narrator doesn't understand the name's meaning, just looking at the little frog's expression is enough to understand how terrible it is. This must be a curse. The narrator has never seen a main character with any talent for naming things. Just then a stranger approached and started a conversation with Huisu. "You just finished the tutorial, right?" When Huisu admitted he was a newcomer, the man offered him a pill and said, "That's great. I'm Kim Song-hun of the Blue Dragon Guild. Please take this. This is a Biwanian. It's excellent for recovery." Not having a good impression of guilds from the tutorial, Huisu used a skill to inspect it. An information window from his game system immediately popped up. Biwanian, a high-grade single-use recovery potion warning. Contains an amnesia charm that will modify a portion of memories from the tutorial. Huisu finally realized the problem. It turns out the people who objected to his post had their memories modified before. Now everything made sense. No wonder no one spoke up. To object to the guides that the government and the guilds put out, it wasn't because it had been too long and they'd forgotten, but because they had their memories erased. This was also the reason why the major guilds and the government actively promoted the use of Biwanians. After a moment of thought, Huisu spoke up and asked, "Have you ever used a Biwanian?" Seong-hun? Seong-hun cheerfully replied, "Of course, ever since I became a server here. Try one to heal up." A server here is someone who distributes Biwanians, and each guild has many of them. Huisu took the pill and awkwardly asked, "Right here in front of you." Seong-hun immediately replied that according to the rules, servers must strictly supervise newcomers taking the potion. Just at that moment, a new person was teleported right next to Huisu. His entire body was covered in wounds, but he wouldn't stop shouting, "You said there was only one. That damn government and those wretched guilds, they're lying." While everyone was focused on the injured man, Deokchan suddenly swallowed the pill in Huisu's hand. When Seong-hun turned back, he saw Huisu pretending to chew so. He didn't suspect a thing. Afterward, he asked for Huisu's information. As a precaution, Huisu gave his name as Kim Young-soo. Huisu then hurried to a corner and dropped the heavy load from his shoulders. He could finally breathe a sigh of relief. He had almost gotten his memories erased like the others, but unexpectedly Deokchan's own level progression kicked in and it acquired a new skill, F rank recovery. After eating the pill, it was truly worthy of being called a mystical creature. Huyu then remembered the people he met through the community post would soon be arriving on the 6th floor of this tower climbing challenge. So Huisu quickly wrote a strategy for the 5th floor as well as a warning about the Biwanians. After a while, he finished writing and posted it to the community. He didn't want to lose his precious friends who were just like him. After taking care of these miscellaneous tasks, Huisu decided to examine the new guidebook he had received. As soon as he opened the book, it glowed brilliantly and floated into the air. Countless windows from the game system also appeared, but what caught Huisu's attention was the auction house where one could buy various items. An item not in the shop caused Huyu's skill to react. It was an E-rank piece of Pan's golden armor with +3 defense and +1 physical strength. Judging by the stats in the game system, it looked like trash, and to make matters worse, there was no price listed. Despite his hesitation, he decided to buy it since this skill had helped him get this far, but he never expected this piece of armor would cost a whopping 2,000 points. Huyu cried out in shock. "Wait, why does an E-rank item cost 2,000 points? Give me a refund system." The system immediately announced that purchased items were non-refundable, making Huyu sick with regret, but after checking it again, he was completely astonished. It was Pan's golden armor, a piece of equipment from Pan, a master who had completed his tower climbing journey to the 99th floor long ago. Find all the remaining pieces to unlock its primordial power, 1 of 7 currently in a sealed state. Huyu's eyes widened in amazement as he took out the magic stone for comparison. Wait, the 99th floor. This mysterious stone from the 3rd floor was made by someone who reached the 92nd floor, right? But this item is from someone who reached the 99th floor. Doesn't that make this a top-tier artifact? Of the absolute highest tier, Huyu then eagerly began hunting for the remaining pieces on the auction house, but this proved to be harder than snagging a deal on Black Friday. He searched for a solid hour without finding a single piece, but instead Huyu managed to buy a few other useful items: a longsword with +5 strength, a transforming necklace that could become a helmet, and various potions. With this new gear, Huyu finally looked like a real hunter. Now there was just one more thing left to do: awaken his potential. Time for some level progression. A notification window popped up. Congratulations, you have completed the training system. You have obtained 500 points. Beginning awakening. A searing surge of power like a blazing fire immediately coursed through every muscle fiber in Huyu's body. This level progression process was excruciatingly painful, and failure to endure it would mean total failure. After bearing the agony for some time, the pain finally subsided. A notification window from the game system appeared. Awakening complete. Huyu strength 12, agility 16, physical strength 18, magic 11. You have unlocked a new skill. You have received a random skill box. Just then, a strange light emanated from Huyu's inventory. The hidden items he had collected from previous rounds suddenly flew out and began to merge, together finally converging into the skill box Huyu had just received. Congratulations! Your skill box has been upgraded to the highest grade. Please select the best skill from the skill box. First achievement. You have received 5,000 points. Huyu couldn't believe his eyes. He cautiously approached and used the skill box. A notification appeared. Congratulations. You have obtained the S-rank skill, Synthesis. Huyu's eyes turned into hearts as he hugged D-Chun and screamed in absolute joy. Wow! D-Chun, it's S-rank, an S-rank skill. The game system notifications began to flood in. You are the only player on this server with 2 S-rank skills. An extraordinary event has occurred. Huyu read the message but didn't understand any of it. He also didn't feel any different, but he failed to notice D-Chun was glowing, guarding against an intervention from a chaotic energy. At that moment, a quest notification from the game system caught Huyu's attention. Hidden quest activated. Develop a new path. Whoever completes this will receive a special reward. Checking his current coin balance, Huyu saw that he only had 3 coins, which left him speechless. What could he possibly do with so little? Suddenly a notification appeared. Player benefit: Huyu's coin amount has been multiplied by 2.14. Huishu's coin count is infinite. Hidden quest tower. Climbing to the summit. Reward unknown. Hint: there are 100 floors in the tower. Huisu was completely stunned. Holy smokes, infinite coins. Damn, do I really have infinite coins? This is awesome. Now I can fight until the very end. I can become the strongest S-rank hunter, gaining both fame and fortune once I clear this. But his joy was short-lived. For long, when Huishu realized a harsh truth. Wait a minute, if the condition to leave this place is to run out of coins or conquer the tower, then I can never get out. Huishu clutched his head, screaming in despair. Haha, serves you right for using cheats. And so Huishu sat in a corner, head in his hands, lamenting. So I really have to climb all the way and complete that 100th floor. Even the great hunter Kim Han took 1 year and 8 months just to clear the 61st floor. Just then, a notification from the game system appeared. As if to console him, don't worry too much about the outside world. Compared to the time outside, time inside this tower flows at twice the speed. But that only made Huishu despair even more. So that's 3 years and 4 months. If it's me, it'll probably take up to 10 years to get that far. Damn it, this is horrible. But it seems he had forgotten that he was loaded with cheat skills and had a super-powered VIP pet. Meanwhile, at the plaza on the 6th floor, the newcomers who had just passed the tutorial were immediately stopped for an identity check. Some people, unable to bear it any longer, were thinking of resisting. But after seeing the bright red killer mark, they all became as obedient as lambs. They knew that if they dared to complain even one more word, they would be dead for sure. The one bearing the killer mark was the enforcement officer Yu Hui. Enforcement officers are responsible for security in the safe zone. Not only that, but this man was also the strongest person on this floor. Yu Hui was here to find someone among the newcomers named Beautiful Princess, who was none other than our Huishu. While reading a report, Yu Hui's mood suddenly soured. His eyes blazed with killing intent. Bring me the bastard who wrote report number 4. In no time, the writer of the report was dragged before him. The man didn't even understand why he had been brought here before he was kicked, crippling his leg. With just a single kick, all the bones in his right leg were completely shattered. This showed that the title of enforcement officer was not just for show. Huyu then grabbed the crying soldier's head and asked, "Do you know what you did wrong?" As he spoke, he held a knife menacingly close to the soldier, silencing him. The dense killing intent was like a venomous snake constricting its prey, terrifying enough to make anyone piss their pants in fear. First, you performed a sloppy inspection and left the plaza without permission. Second, there's a high probability that the very hidden individual is the one the guild warned us to be wary of. And finally, you lost track of him, so now no one knows his whereabouts. Be grateful that I'm sparing your life. But for this man, living was worse than death. His bones were shattered all over his body, and the hellish pain was no different from torture. Now the only option was to sacrifice one coin to respawn, which would be a relief. Huyu then commanded the remaining soldiers, "Listen up. From this moment on, every transfer gate on the 6th floor will be sealed. We are to find the person named Kim Dong-soo. Now move." All the soldiers immediately moved to carry out the order. However, it seemed they were unaware that the person named Kim Dong-soo didn't even exist. Elsewhere, Huyu and Yi-jun were enjoying a hearty lunch at the inn's restaurant. He was completely unaware that he was being hunted, but his attention was suddenly drawn to a loud conversation from a nearby table. What the hell are they closing all the gates for? Do they think they own this place? Even the major guilds are probably turning a blind eye to this. Damn it, they only listen to each other and ignore everyone else, especially those bastards from Esgun. After learning that the teleportation gates were blocked, Hyaksu immediately went to scout the area, not approaching recklessly, but observing from a distance while perched in a tree. From afar, he confirmed it all. The gates were indeed blocked. This was the last one, teleportation gate number 5, and it only had a few guards. Is force the only option? But I still don't fully understand my own abilities, and on top of that, my combat experience is lacking. I'll just have to wait. There's no other choice. Just then, a massive explosion erupted in the main square. It was the hunters protesting because their path was blocked. You think you can do whatever you want just because you're from the major guilds? We need to advance in our tower climbing. Get out of our way. Just as the situation was about to boil over, Ji-hyuk suddenly appeared. His stance was clear. Insolence and non-cooperation will be met with a fitting punishment. The other soldiers immediately bowed upon seeing him. The hunters who had been so full of bravado moments before immediately scattered and fled. Ji-hyuk, unable to find his target, and was starting to get bored when a soldier approached to report, "Sir, regarding the one we suspect is beautiful princess, I've already contacted the 10th floor and requested they apprehend Kim Dong-soo the moment he gets there, sir." Hearing this, Ji-hyuk commanded, "Excellent. While you're at it, gather all guild members in this sector for me. Starting from this gate, we will verify the identity of every single person. The square is to be sealed off. Furthermore, when I fire the signal flare, the on-duty combat team must report to my position immediately. You have 5 minutes, that's all." Just as Ji-hyuk finished his command, the explosion in the square went off, but he didn't choose to head in that direction. Instead, he immediately moved toward gate number 5, the one with the fewest guards. Just as he predicted, Hyaksu was using the chaos in the square as a diversion to approach the gate. To conceal his identity, he had activated a necklace-type artifact he'd acquired earlier. Thanks to his unique skills, the guards couldn't even slow him down. Hyaksu thought he would slip through the gate with ease. But he was suddenly kicked back with immense force. The attacker was none other than Ji-hyuk, using the chaos to aim for the most lightly guarded teleportation gate. Just as I predicted, Kim Dong-soo. At that moment, a notification from Hyuksu's game system suddenly appeared. Direct confrontation with an assassin. Sudden quest. Defeat Ji-hyuk. Reward: you will obtain a skill from the assassin class. Sound related to your level progression. Notice, even if you kill the assassin title will not be granted to you. While Hyuksu was still reeling from the unexpected quest, Ji-hyuk had already rushed in to attack. He leaped into the air and launched a powerful kick that sent Hyaksu flying backward. "I won't be holding back," Ji-hyuk declared. "It doesn't matter if you're Kim Dong-soo or that beautiful princess character. Because I need to find out who you are. Perhaps I should just kill you first and figure it out later." Thanks to one of his skills, Hyaksu was able to see through his opponent's information. Despite being an assassin, Ji-hyuk's class was Kick Sorcerer. Hyaksu now understood why that last blow was so devastating. He was facing the strongest person on this entire floor. Still feeling a bit dazed, Hyaksu tried to buy some time by asking, "What do you mean you won't be holding back?" Surprisingly, Ji-hyuk didn't press his attack and instead, he actually began to explain. "If you are beautiful princess, I will simply kill you and the assault will end. However, if you're not, I will continue without holding back just as I said. After carefully analyzing your last performance, you're likely the beautiful princess, not the one making a scene in the square because you prefer to move stealthily. Huyu, having been completely figured out, was a bit anxious. This bastard is really sharp. Now that I think about it, this is getting truly risky. I'll show him the consequences of treating people's lives this way. As Huyu thought this, he drew his sword and prepared to attack, but just then, Juhyuk fired a flare that lit up the sky to call for reinforcements. Because I've fired the signal flare, my guild members will come to take care of you. Until then, let's have a little fun. Huyu was now extremely furious. Damn it, I can't believe you would just casually use a 3,000-point signal flare. That's more expensive than this junk armor. It must be nice to have so much money, huh? Shouting, Huyu used his E-rank acceleration skill and charged forward, but his attack was blocked by Juhyuk. He immediately attacked with a dagger, but that was just a feint. His real attack was a direct kick to the head. Normally, anyone would be caught off guard by this move. Who would expect an assassin to use their feet? But since Huyu already knew, he easily blocked the attack. He even had time to taunt his opponent. You think you can fool me with a cheap trick like that? Hearing this, Juhyuk went berserk and attacked furiously, because he knew all the information. About his opponent, Huyu could easily dismantle each attack and launch a counterattack, but his sword was suddenly blocked by a level 2 D-rank protective shield skill. Juhyuk gloated, "You think a foolish attack like that can hurt me?" Huyu immediately used his B-rank fireball skill, blowing the shield away. How about this then? A single B-rank skill was enough to destroy a D-rank one. Juhyuk was caught by surprise and took the full force of the attack. The fireball tore his clothes to shreds. He was now incredibly furious. You're just a rookie involved in tower climbing who barely finished the tutorial. Just because I went easy on you, a shameless punk like you doesn't even know your place. Huyu could feel that his opponent's aura had changed, so he immediately took a defensive stance. But Juhyuk's speed was now too fast for him to follow. In an instant, Juhyuk was behind him and landed a kick to Huyu's side. Huyu was sent flying, clutching his ribs in pain. His damage output is much higher now. Did he use some kind of secret item? Juhyuk now looked like a demon in human skin. The killing intent radiating from him was so thick it was visible to the naked eye. Huyu used a skill and discovered the reason. The cause was a B-rank berserker brooch. Usable once per day, it can double the user's current stats for 10 minutes. It can be found on floor 20 or below. He also had a C-rank weight bracelet that controls body weight with magic. Thanks to these two items from the game system, Juhyuk's level progression skyrocketed in an instant. Huyu couldn't help but curse. Artifacts. Those bastards at Sangon gave these to a 6th floor law enforcement officer. Damn, the major guilds are really loaded. Fighting that, I'll probably lose an arm and a leg. But Huyu had already formulated a plan. He signaled for Dokchun to move and took his stance. Juhyuk charged forward blindly. Now I'm going to beat you to a pulp. He used his speed to circle around Huyu, relentlessly attacking with his feet. Seeing that Huyu could only passively defend, he laughed triumphantly. Ha ha ha, die. But his laughter was cut short when Huyu grabbed his leg. Seizing the opportunity, he rushed in and hugged his opponent tightly. Juhyuk immediately blushed, his thoughts racing. What are you doing? Are you insane? But unfortunately for him, Huyu wasn't interested in that. What he truly wanted was the art of explosion. Huyu immediately activated his fireball skill right on the spot. A massive explosion erupted, leaving both of them covered in smoke as Juhyuk was blasted so hard he lost his combat stance. With his nose bleeding profusely, he coughed, "You crazy bastard, do you want us to blow up together?" But Huyu, wasn't that foolish? No way, I have no desire to get blown up. You're going to have to die alone. He was so confident because he had Dokchun continuously pumping his health back up with a healing skill. This was basically a 2-on-1 fight. How could he possibly lose? After exchanging a few words, Huyu continued to perform his art of explosion. After countless consecutive blasts, Juhyuk had turned to ash and the artifact he was carrying dropped. At that moment, a notification from the game system appeared, stating that Huyu Dabura, assassin class. After completing a surprise quest, Huyu then looted the items and flashed a friendly smile at the remaining team soldiers. And just like that, he successfully passed through the gate, continuing his tower climbing journey straight to the 7th floor. As soon as he stepped through, a notification popped up. From the 7th to the 9th floor is an enhanced zone. Mission: defeat 100 goblins. Only then did Huyu finally let out a sigh of relief. Phew, I really thought I was a goner back there. In any case, that battle was worthwhile. Now I have 3 artifacts with special powers in my inventory. While Huishu was busy admiring his spoils, Dokchun spoke up to remind him. Only then did Huishu remember, oh that's right. If you hadn't been there I couldn't have gotten this item. Thanks, Dokchun. But it seemed a simple thank you was... Not enough. Dokchun immediately looked displeased. Huishu got the hint and quickly bought a special lunchbox worth 300 points. And as a thank you, this lunchbox looked so good even I would be drooling, let alone a frog, and so the two of them happily dug into their meal. Elsewhere after dying, Duhuk was resurrected in his bedroom at the Sohui Guild headquarters. He felt as if he had just woken up from a nightmare and couldn't shake the feeling I lost. Damn it, my skill was stolen too. That bastard. Huyu, I'll catch him even if it kills me. Just then Duhuk's subordinate entered on crutches. Duhuk didn't rest for a moment, instead immediately getting up to dress. As he walked he said, "It's a good thing you're here. From now on, I'm no longer a law enforcement officer. You'll be my replacement, so stick with me and learn the ropes. First we need to deal with the eyesore in the plaza," but after taking a few steps, he turned back to ask his subordinate, "You captured the guy in the plaza, didn't you?" The subordinate didn't dare to answer and instead led Duhuk to the location to see for himself. Looking at the desolate scene in the plaza, Duhuk instantly understood the situation. He couldn't stop himself from cursing up a storm. Meanwhile, back on the 7th floor, Huishu was testing the new shock skill he had just acquired. This skill intimidates and temporarily stuns targets with its level and range increasing based on his level progression. After being hit, the goblins were immobilized for a moment, and Huishu seized the opportunity to cut them down. Before long, the requirement of killing 10 goblins to clear the floor was met. The portal to the 8th floor appeared, and Huishu was about to head to the 8th floor when he suddenly recalled the earlier notification. Wait a minute, since this is an enhanced zone, there should be more to it, right? Just as he predicted, a horde of goblins was lurking behind him, rushing forward to attack the moment he seemed to let his guard down. But Huishu had already sensed their presence. He decided not to rush to the next floor but to stay here and farm for a while. The number of goblins Huyu hunted gradually increased, soon reaching 40, even though these goblins weren't much of a threat, but fighting for so long was starting to wear Huyu out, just as he was panting heavily like a dog. A surprising notification from the game system popped up. Reward: you have received a novice kit. While Huyu was stunned, something suddenly fell and hit him on the head. He picked it up and discovered it was a pill, and its information immediately appeared. Novice. Kit rank: usable from the 7th to the 9th floor of the enhancement zone, enhances stats when hunting monsters. Depending on the monster type, there's a limit to the stat increase. After reading this, Huyu's eyes widened in shock. This can actually increase my stats? He then eagerly swallowed the pill, and a notification for successful absorption appeared along with a quest notification to defeat 100 goblins. Huyu clutched his head in despair. So it's forcing me to hunt monsters to enhance my stats because I used the novice kit, but it's ignoring all my hard work up until now. If this is the case, if I kill 100, then I'll definitely become incredibly strong. Novice kit, I'm going to squeeze you dry to the very last drop, I swear. And just like that, Huyu's fighting spirit was set ablaze. The poor goblins on this floor were just living their happy and peaceful lives when a sword-wielding madman suddenly appeared and started slaughtering them. Soon Huyu had killed 125 goblins, far surpassing the quest's requirement. His level progression also saw a massive boost as his stats grew significantly, with energy increasing to 16, agility to 18, strength to 24, and magic to 19, which also meant he had reached the stat enhancement limit of the novice kit. Huyu now stood amidst the burning goblin corpses, panting heavily. Luckily, thanks to Dokchun's support, he was able to complete this quest so quickly. Although Huyu desperately wanted to rest, there was still one more important mission in his tower climbing journey, a special mission issued by the tower itself. Defeat the 7th floor's boss monster. Quantity: 1. Reward unknown. And information about the boss monster cannot be disclosed. Huyu carefully assessed this mission. A special mission appears after defeating a monster whose information even my ability couldn't see. Hidden info. So an S-rank skill isn't completely omnipotent after all. I guess I'll have to find the boss myself. Huyu then climbed a tree to observe the surrounding terrain and made a deduction. This floor only has goblins, so the boss must be a goblin as well. If it's a goblin, then the only possibilities are a goblin champion mage, a dwarf goblin, or a treasure hunter. I can rule out the 1-star dwarf goblins because they're too weak and they aren't champions or mages. I'll skip them since they often travel in packs, so that only leaves the treasure hunter. At that moment, a window appeared with a hint. You do not have enough information about the quest, try to deduce it and the content will be updated once you make a logical inference and reach the correct conclusion. The quest from the game system then changed. The reward was now the treasure hunter's satchel. After figuring out the boss was the treasure hunter, Huyu immediately started devising a plan. Although they're cowards, treasure hunters have an intense craving for valuable treasures, and so Huyu flashed a sinister smile and grabbed the innocent Dokchun. Dokchun, it's time for you to pay for your meals. In the treasure hunter's cave, the boss suddenly caught the scent of treasure outside. At this moment, it was extremely conflicted. There's the smell of treasure outside the cave, but I also smell the blood of my kin. What should I do? After a moment, after some deliberation, the boss decided to find a more important treasure, so it ran out of its cave and began searching everywhere. After searching for a while, it finally discovered the treasure was a golden frog statue. Yes, you are not seeing things. That was none other than our cute Dokchun, who had been forced by its cruel master to hold some kind of item in its mouth and strike a provocative pose. Someone call the Animal Protection Society. Meanwhile, Huyu was hiding in a tree, waiting for his prey to fall into the trap. After seeing the treasure, the boss flexed its glutes and transformed into a giant, the boss's information panel from the game system. Abdul also changed accordingly. Awakened treasure hunter. Incarnation of greed. The act of searching for treasure caused its power to increase beyond the pure strength of its race, boosting its level progression to 3 stars with a maximum of 4. Huyu was a bit excited and prepared a fireball in his hand. It can reach 4 stars? Is it really a goblin? But if everything goes smoothly, I can still capture it. As the boss charged at Huyu, he used the fireball to stop it, simultaneously telling Dokchun to release the golden item. After reverting to its original form, Dokchun immediately jumped up while Huyu jumped down and caught it. At that moment, he retrieved the mysterious stone from Dokchun's mouth into his inventory. The boss was raising its fist to attack, but when suddenly, as if frozen in place, it reverted to its original form. A notification immediately appeared. Due to the disappearance of the treasure, the power of the treasure hunter has vanished. And so Huyu finished the boss with a single sword strike. Afterwards, another notification appeared. Defeated the treasure hunter. Quest complete. You are the first on the server to defeat the 7th floor boss in this tower climbing challenge. You have received and 3,000 points. Effect of the novice kit. All stats +1. The death of the 7th floor boss made the other monsters run, troll bosh, and hide in their lairs. Afterwards, Huyu lit a campfire and slowly examined the bag he had just received. Goblin's treasure pouch. B rank. A spatial attribute item. It cannot be opened unless you are the owner and can hold many things. This spatial item is great, but what Huyu was really looking forward to was the contents inside. After checking the bag, he found 3 items. The first was a C-rank skill book, power dice. Roll the dice and receive numerous types of buffs. You won't know in advance what buff you'll get. Although this skill is a bit RNG based, it's fine since there are no debuffs. The second item was the soul stone of unknown rank. A soul resides within and the stone will react, and if it comes into contact with something. Since he didn't know its effect yet, Huyu decided to set it aside and check it later. The third item was a key fragment for the Hayton ruins. This item's description was similar to the soul stones. This was what caught Huyu's attention the most. Ruins are dungeons that you can only enter after meeting certain requirements or being recognized, but the rewards are very generous. But I only received 1 fragment. This means the other fragments, as it must be on the 7th, 8th, and 9th floors. I can get them if I defeat the boss on each stage of this tower climbing journey. But right now there's nothing to rush for, so Huyu decided to lie down and relax. While at it, he checked the impact of his post on the community forums, but it seemed the reaction to B1 wasn't as good as Huyu thought, because besides causing memory loss, it also saved their lives. However, 2 of Huyu's loyal fans, Baldy and Dapper, believed what Huyu said and went to verify it by asking hunters who had drunk B1. Not only that, Baldy also left a few of his own tips. Turns out he was the one who caused a ruckus in the 6th floor plaza, creating an opportunity for Huyu to escape. In his post, Baldy shared about defeating 40 to 50 goblins on the 7th floor of the tower climbing challenge to obtain a stat-boosting pill, but because of his crude language, no one believed him, so Huyu stepped in to handle the rest. The beautiful princess posted a verification confirming that Baldy's information was correct, including details about the transaction conditions and stats. After handling everything, Huishu proceeded to the 8th floor. The mission for this stage was to defeat 10 snail monsters which were a higher level than goblins. With his immense stats, Huishu easily defeated each snail, accelerating his level progression thanks to the newbie kit's powerful game system effects. Just as he was feeling confident, a giant snail appeared behind him, looking quite different from the others. Before Huishu could react, it threw a glove in his face and a game system notification popped up. A warrior of the Jangkoi Khitan Tak tribe is challenging you to a duel. The challenge was automatically accepted because you exceeded the response time. Huisu looked utterly baffled, having no idea what was going on. Just then, the snail's eyes began to glow, brimming with a fighting spirit that was in stark contrast to Huishu's anxious expression. A circle of light then enveloped the two of them, separating them from the wildly cheering crowd of snails. Huisu now realized this was a solo duel. He watched as the snail in front of him began to strike poses, flexing its muscles. He looked on with disgust. Without another word, Huishu activated his acceleration skill and charged forward to attack the snail. The enraged snail screamed something incomprehensible. It probably meant something like, "You cowardly fiend, how dare you attack while—" I'm still posing, but before it could finish, it was already dead. All talk and no action, it seems. A notification announcing his victory immediately appeared. Huishu's reward was 500 points. While standing over the snail's corpse, he suddenly discovered a strange item. The description identified it as a medal of the Jangkoi tribe. Huishu thought it was useless and decided to store it away to sell later. At that moment, a flood of notification windows appeared. The owner of the medal has changed. You will now participate in the Snail Championship, a challenge to become the next chieftain. After winning the championship, you must dethrone the great chieftain. A victory condition: obtain 10 medals from each of the 4 snail tribes. Ownership of the medal only changes under specific conditions. It seemed Huishu had stumbled into a golden opportunity by pure chance. He had merely stored the medal, yet that simple action had activated a quest. The game system then announced that warriors from the various tribes had arrived, drawn by the news of a new challenger. After a blinding flash of light, countless giant snails were teleported. Right next to Huishu. Every last one of them struck a muscle-flexing pose and then blushed while staring at him. Feeling things were about to get weird, Huishu yelled, "Don't look at me with those eyes." But by the time he noticed, he was already completely surrounded and their numbers kept growing. Once they had all assembled, every snail removed a glove and tossed it at Huishu. He was quickly buried under a mountain of gloves. Unable to stand it any longer, he accepted all the challenges. He would have to face this entire horde at once. While they hadn't yet attacked, Huishu used his smokescreen skill and disappeared from sight. Blinded, the snails fumbled about for a while. Meanwhile, Huishu snuck up from behind and successfully took one of them down. Then, instead of hiding again, he shouted a taunt. He body-shamed them and the enraged snails charged straight at him. As they all converged on one spot, Huishu began. For his attack plan, he first used the shock skill to stun the snail mob, then used the acceleration skill to charge forward, while simultaneously activating his power dice skill. This time the dice landed on a 4, granting Huai a massive stat boost. Huaisu advanced, wiping out the snails one by one. Some were skewered, others were beheaded, and of course some were turned into donuts. Within seconds, all the snails were toast. The game system notifications popped up. The challengers have been defeated. Unexpected achievement. You have received 5,000 function points and a beginner's kit. Energy plus 1.4 and agility plus 2.5. Huisu then collected all the medals from the area, storing them in his spatial bag. The quantity he gathered far exceeded the quest's requirement. Just then the surrounding space transformed. A massive dome materialized around Huishu, and outside countless snails were cheering. A notification from the game system appeared: the birth of a great warrior. You have won the Snail Championship. You now qualify. Able to challenge the great chieftain. Do you wish to proceed? After reading the prompt, Huishu shouted, I fought for my damn life, and now you want me to fight again? Do you think I'm stupid? Upon hearing this, the system seemed to get offended and initiated a 10-second countdown for the challenge opportunity. Left with no choice, Huishu had to swallow his pride and admit he was being stupid by pressing the accept button. He was immediately teleported to another location. Before him was an old snail, sitting on a throne in the Warriors Plaza, the domain of the great snail chieftain. Your strength has been fully restored. See it as a challenger's privilege. The boss's information then appeared via the game system: Great Chieftain D. Kino's monster boss of the 8th floor, 3 stars. Infinite stamina, rock-solid muscles. Skills persistence. A rank fortitude, B rank. After carefully examining the info, Huyu seized the opportunity while the boss was asleep, approaching from behind to launch a sneak attack with a fireball. A massive inferno engulfed the boss and its surroundings. Huishu thought that would be the end of it, but life is rarely that easy. The only thing that was blown away were the throne and the boss's clothes. Fortunately, its shorts, apparently made of the same material as Superman's suit, and its flip-flops remained completely intact. But how the hell was it still holding its original pose without even flinching? It was surreal. Seeing this, Huishu yelled in frustration, "Damn it, with the throne gone, you should at least fall over. Is he sitting on an invisible chair or what?" Just then, the boss awoke, its eyes burning like ominous flames. It stomped a single foot on the ground, causing the entire area to tremble violently. Huisu quickly took a defensive stance, preparing for battle, but what the hell? The boss just folded its arms and started doing squats relentlessly. Huisu and Di-chun could only gape in utter astonishment. After finishing its squats, the boss approached its set of gym equipment. It effortlessly lifted a stone dumbbell, then crushed the weight in its hand, which reformed into a sharp axe blade. After equipping its full set of weapons and armor, it turned to Huishu and bellowed, "How dare you invade my personal quarters? You will be punished by death." The sheer force of its roar was enough to paralyze Huishu's entire body, but he was not one to simply stand by and accept his fate. Gritting his teeth, he forced his paralyzed body into a fighting stance. Against an overwhelmingly powerful opponent like this, a passive defense was a death sentence. This is a common challenge in tower climbing. Understanding this, Huisu activated a skill and immediately charged forward to attack. It looked impressive, but in reality his attack was easily blocked, failing to inflict even a single point of damage. The boss immediately launched a counterattack, and even though Huishu used his sword, he tried to block it but was still sent flying by the immense power. Huyuksu, covered in wounds, struggled to get back on his feet. After experiencing it firsthand, he realized just how massive the difference was between this boss and the one on the 5th floor of his tower climbing journey. Without giving Huyuksu a moment to rest, the boss charged forward to attack immediately. A single swing of its axe could easily shatter a large boulder, but thankfully Huyuksu had the advantage in speed and managed to dodge, circling around behind it. He immediately used his fireball skill, aiming straight for the boss's head. But it seemed Huyuksu had forgotten that this move was completely ineffective. While he was gloating, he was suddenly struck by the boss's axe and sent flying. Huyuksu still couldn't understand why the skill he was most proud of had no effect. He quickly used his game system interface to investigate the reason. The hidden information then appeared: rank a level 3 resistance. It gains a power boost when taking critical damage. Enraged by the attack, the boss relentlessly pursued Huyuksu. Unable to fight back, Huyuksu had no choice but to run. As he ran, he whined, "It gets stronger every time it's hit. Isn't that basically a cheat? Haha, look at the guy who's been using a hack since the 1st floor, crying now. This is just like a cheater meeting a glitch exploiter." After closing the distance, the boss raised its axe and brought it down with immense force. Luckily, Huyuksu managed to jump forward just in time, or else he would have been split in two. He lay sprawled on the ground, looking in terror as the boss approached. Since all his attacks were ineffective, Huyuksu decided to use his shockwave and smokescreen skills to harass the boss and buy some time. Seeing this, the boss just swung its axe once, blowing away the flimsy smoke. It couldn't see Huyuksu anywhere, so it began to hunt him. Huyuksu, hiding to the side, observed the situation. "This monster is suppressing my shockwave and using wind pressure to dispel the smokescreen. My best skill, fireball, only makes it stronger. Is my level progression stuck?" Just as he was despairing, his hack skill offered a hint. Don't big strong guys like this usually have a weakness on their back? After reading it, Huyuksu's eyes widened in shock. His back. His back is the weak point. But what do you want me to do about it? Just then, Ji-chun popped up and reminded Huyuksu about the second S-rank skill he'd obtained, skill synthesis. This ability could combine two skills to create a new one. With this, Huyuksu would have another option to attack. While Huyuksu was celebrating, he forgot to track the boss's movements. It had now found him and was preparing to skewer him right through the backside. By the time Huyuksu realized it, it was too late. He was split in two by the axe, dying on the spot. Just kidding, that was only an afterimage. After synthesizing, Huyuksu had created a B-rank skill, speeding mist. You can transform into mist and accelerate your movement to another location. Currently executable in 0.3 seconds. You will transform into mist just before death, ignoring the opponent's attacks. You cannot be targeted by any attacks. This very skill saved Huyu's life in the nick of time. Seeing its prey still alive, the boss immediately attacked again. This time, Huyu wasn't passive like before. He actively used the speeding mist skill to dodge the attack and circle around behind the massive foe. Huyu plunged his sword firmly into the boss's back and clung onto it. Although this attack was like a mere thorn to the boss, it was extremely irritating. It threw away its weapon and tried every way to reach behind its back to grab Huyu, but because of with his massive upper body muscles leaving the boss completely helpless. Huyu then equipped the 2 artifacts he got from Jay's place, who then flashed a friendly smile. Looks like you love to work out. Let me help you with your squats, get those hips down. Lower? You shouldn't arch your back when you squat. Huyu then unleashed a flurry of punches onto the boss's back, but thanks to its endurance skill, the boss was hardly phased. It even grew stronger, but this was all part of Huyu's plan. The previous punches were just a test for his real move. He struck the softest spot on the boss's back and held his fist there. That skill of yours is ridiculous, but can you handle being burned from the inside out, Huyu? Then used his fireball skill, detonating the boss from within. It seems art really is an explosion. The boss was blown to smithereens, dying instantly. A notification from the game system then popped up. Challenge to become the tribal chief. Mission complete. You have earned 2,000 points. Effect of the beginner's kit. All stats +5. Your level progression has advanced. You will now return to reality. Huyu was instantly teleported back to where he started. His limbs felt like jelly as he collapsed to the ground. I actually won. That 3-star boss was incredibly strong. Just then, Huyu received another item for defeating the boss. It was a fragment of the Hao Tin Ruins key. Combined with the piece he already had, Huyu only needed one more fragment to complete the key. The very thought sent shivers of excitement down his spine. Huyu clutched the 2 fragments in his hand, laughing like a maniac. But the rewards weren't over yet. Huyu looked up to the sky, anticipating what would come next, and then it was a lump of crap. My mistake. According to the description, it's an item called Condensed Essence of the Great Chieftain. It was a C-rank elixir holding the power of the Great Chieftain. As Huyu prodded the slimy object in his hand, he wondered, is this really an elixir? And not some snail's droppings. The elixirs I know of are more valuable than treasure. It's the only way to increase one's power. Outside the zone of tower climbing, there was once an A-rank hunter named Kim Do-woo who became an S-rank after using an elixir called Brenan. This one came from the 8th floor, so it might not be the best, but it's worth a shot. Huyu mustered all his courage and shoved the slimy thing into his mouth. Dukchun, who was standing beside him, thought his master was eating poop, and his jaw dropped in utter shock. Huyu's cheeks puffed out. As he struggled to swallow the disgusting substance, he would do anything to become as strong as possible. It was the only way he could escape. From this tower, a game system window then appeared. You have successfully absorbed the condensed essence of the Great Chieftain. The power of the Great Chieftain now resides within you. It will help reduce stamina consumption. Huyu's stats immediately skyrocketed, a clear sign of his level progression. Energy +10, agility +3, strength +10, and magic +3. Huyu then looked Dukchun and bragged. How about it, Dukchun? Can you see how much stronger I've become? But seeing the leftover crap elixir, still stuck to Huyu's teeth, disgusted Dukchun. He leaped up and socked Huyu right in the jaw. Huyu, not understanding why he'd been punched, turned and asked, "Why did you hit me?" But one look at Dukchun's face and Huyu understood. "What? Crap is dripping from my mouth, so you had to stop me to wash away the foul stench." Huyu bought the F-rank cleanse skill for 1,000 points, and he also spent another 1,000 points on an alert skill that warns him when someone approaches. Truly, the rich spend money like it's water. Since he'd earned so many points from selling the boss's weapon, Huyu was spending freely. Thanks to purchasing a bunch of life skills through the game system, his life became somewhat more comfortable. That evening, he was eating dinner by the campfire while writing a strategy guide for the 8th floor to post on the community forums. Since getting used to the process, Hyun-soo could now quickly write out his strategies, and his title's contribution points were gradually increasing with each post. He currently had 89 contribution points, just 11 more points shy of receiving the next reward for his title. While browsing the community forums, a particular post caught his attention. Some guy had single-handedly destroyed the Sangun Guild on the 6th floor, and he had taken pictures of the aftermath and posted them on the community forums as a great achievement. His motive was to become more famous than Baldy, the one responsible for the explosion in the 6th floor plaza. Hyun-soo was utterly astonished by this post. He had barely managed to defeat Jae-hyuk after a very difficult fight. He couldn't believe this person was even stronger than him. To investigate, Hyun-soo commented, "The judicial officer, as far as I know, is a formidable opponent. You might be the strongest one here capable of defeating anyone." The other person immediately replied, "I am quite strong, it's true, but who is Jae-hyuk? That doesn't sound like the name of the guy I captured." Hyun-soo was quite surprised by this information. It wasn't Jae-hyuk. Did he resign because he lost to me? Or if not, then was he kicked out of the tower for running out of coins? At that moment, another person chimed in, saying that the judicial officer was now a different person. As for Jae-hyuk, rumor has it he has already advanced to the upper floors. Hyun-soo suddenly grew anxious and began biting his nails. He has ascended. He's doing it to catch me because he's tracking me. I need to accelerate my level progression and get stronger faster. The information about the rookie's kit, he'll be much stronger by the time we meet again. And it's not just him, but also the other members of the major guilds. If that's the case, then there's no more time for leisurely breaks like this. I need to start grinding hard. The effect of the rookie's kit on the 8th floor was currently only at 34 out of 100. Hyun-soo decided to continue hunting before proceeding with his tower climbing to the 9th floor. Meanwhile, on the 7th floor, Jae-hyuk hadn't been idle either. He had already hunted 100 goblins. He had followed the guide written by Hyun-soo and managed to raise his stats significantly. Damn it, Pretty Princess was actually telling the truth. That means the strategy guide is also legitimate. It wasn't very long, but my memory of it is still crystal clear. The story about Biwanian and the amnesia seems to be true. How did she discover it and decide to share it instead of keeping it for herself? It seems everyone is under the mistaken impression that Pretty Princess is a girl, with no idea that they're actually a dude. After completing the 7th floor, Jae-hyuk immediately reported back to his superiors, confirming that the information from the strategy guide was accurate. Subsequently, he was assigned the mission of verifying the 7th floor strategy. Jae-hyuk idly played with his knife, contemplating his future. Choi Sang-moo is an elite rookie, the one who made it to the 39th floor, and joined the Sangun Guild. Although I'm also considered elite, what about the rookies from the other major guilds? Can I handle them? Jae-hyuk suddenly remembered the rookie's kit. With that item, his level progression would be incredibly fast. The memory of being looked down on flashed through his mind, along with the image of having his 2 artifacts taken from him. All of this fueled his determination for revenge. Returning to the 8th floor, Hyun-soo had just finished defeating 100 snails. He had now maxed out all the stat boosts from the rookie's kit for this floor. After one last check of his items, Hyun-soo decided to proceed to the 9th floor. The mission for the 9th floor was to defeat 10 one-horned wolves. Upon hearing the name, when it comes to monsters, be wary of the one-horned wolves. They're not like goblins that can shoot poison darts or orcs that use weapons. We should be careful. But before he could finish his sentence, he was almost gored in the eye as a one-horned wolf suddenly charged out from the bushes to attack, but Huyu blocked it with his bare hands. Although a one-horned wolf is weaker than an orc, they always attack in packs, and with such overwhelming numbers, it's very difficult for newcomers to overcome them. The wolf was held by its horn by Huyu, but it showed no fear whatsoever. It bared its sharp fangs and growled ferociously. Huyu immediately used his sword to slice its head off. Just then, a pack of bloodthirsty one-horned wolves suddenly rushed forward, surrounding him. They would do anything to avenge their fallen comrade. This scene reminded Huyu of his past when he died to a pack of hellhounds and was brought to the tower to begin his journey of tower climbing. But he was much different now thanks to the level progression and stat increases from the previous 2 floors. Huyu could easily dodge their attacks and counterkill. With just a single swing, he could decapitate any one-horned wolf. The pack of one-horned wolves, seeing that individual attacks were useless, charged all at once. They pointed their sharp horns at Huyu and rushed forward. But Huyu simply jumped to effortlessly dodge them. Then he casually stood on their horns and flashed a wicked grin. "I don't have time to waste on you mutts, you know." After saying that, Huyu activated his weight bracelets. The sudden immense increase in weight was too much for the one-horned wolves to bear, crushing them flat. Huyu then fought while thinking about the future. Ever since he started making his own plans for each floor, the guilds must have pinpointed his location. The guilds on each floor have surely pinpointed my location using the game system. Security for this tower climbing stage tightened the moment I appeared, complicating my level progression even though I had to prevent something similar from happening. If I want to reach the 10th floor, I must quickly devise a strategy for the 9th. The safe zone on the 10th floor is even more important than the one on the 6th, so I won't give up. I can become stronger if I take on more quests and hide the rewards from the 10th floor's NPCs. Right now, all the major guilds are targeting me. The only way to reach the 10th floor safely is to clear the 9th as quickly as possible. And so Huyu went on a frantic hunt. Before long, he had completed the 9th floor's quest and hunted 30 monsters for the starter kit. Just then, an unexpected notification popped up from the game system. Check your achievements you have received. Hutton. Ruins key fragment 2 out of 3. Night has fallen. Delin the Wolf, Lord of Night, has appeared. Warning: Delin will be fully revealed on the 7th night, Nightfall Day 1. Before Huyu could understand what was happening, he was enveloped in darkness. He had a bad feeling about this. Huyu used a self-illuminating soul stone to light up his surroundings, but no matter how much he looked, he couldn't find a single one-horned wolf. Just then, a shadow darted past, giving Huyu the creeps. He immediately shone the light in that direction, but saw nothing at all. Huyu was so scared that he broke out in a cold sweat. He tried to reassure himself that it was just his imagination, but suddenly he felt a chill down his spine. A monster with a grotesque form was approaching him and preparing to attack. Huyu reacted instantly and slashed with his sword, but he couldn't deal any damage at all. This monster was like a ghost. It dissipated when the sword struck it, and then immediately reformed into its horrifying shape. Seeing that things were bad, Huyu backed away to keep his distance. The monster then, it relentlessly passed right through Huyu's body. Seeing this, Huyu panicked, thinking, my body, it just went straight through me. I'm dying. But strangely, Huyu was completely fine. His body didn't have a single wound. Just as Huyu was feeling relieved, and looking smug, he suddenly felt unwell and collapsed. A notification from the game system appeared. Your stats have been stolen. Strength 0. Step 3. The stolen stats will be absorbed by Delsin. The seal imprisoning it will be weakened. Huyu then used his appraisal skill on the Opor monsters, a shadow spirit type that awakens and appears every night. Opor appear alongside Delkin. Normal attacks do not inflict damage on them, and they possess the ability to absorb stats from their opponents. They won't stop attacking until they have absorbed everything. Huyu, now drenched in sweat, was in a state of extreme anxiety. Not only are my attacks useless, but my stats are being drained and the seal is weakening. What does that even mean? These jerks are stealing my power. What kind of monstrous thing are they trying to awaken? Suddenly, the number of Opor increased dramatically. They furiously charged at Huyu. Knowing he was outmatched, Huyu could only turn and run for his life. A notification? A hidden quest appeared. Nightmare of 7 Nights. Defeat Delsin 0 out of 1. Delsin, the wolf that brings the night, will become complete after 7 nights. The seal will break if the stats stolen by the Opor exceed a certain limit each night. Stats required to break the first seal 0.3 out of 10. Rewards: Hayton's Ruin. Key fragment: Delkin's fur scarf. Commencing. The hidden quest server for this stage of tower climbing on the 9th floor has been revealed. Additional rewards have been added. Special reward: The Bringer of Night. Title. Although Huyu was running for his life in terror, he felt a surge of excitement hearing about the reward. Awesome. Did it just say, a title? I want that title no matter what, but how the heck can I win? While Huyu was distracted, the Opor caught up. This time they stole 0.4 agility. Huyu couldn't take it anymore, and immediately, I unleashed a fireball and continued to flee. When he glanced back to see if the attack had worked, he saw it did absolutely nothing. The Opor emerged from the smoke and continued to pursue him. Seeing this, Huyu screamed, magic skills are useless too. I'm so screwed. He then tripped, losing 0.3 physical strength, and face-planted. Dick Chun, who had been clinging on loosely, was thrown forward. It instantly became the Opor's target and was swarmed. At that moment, Huyu could only scream in despair. But what the heck, a notification popped up. Opor defeated. The effect of the beginner's kit. A key part of his initial level progression also activated. The dissipating Opor revealed Dick Chun, who seemed to be enveloped in a mysterious purple aura. And it didn't stop there. Dick Chun got up and actively started hunting. It only needed to spit a few projectiles and it easily eliminated 2 Opor. It then placed its hands on its hips with a sinister grin. And feeling completely unbeatable, Huyu quickly used his appraisal skill to figure out what was going on. Dick Chun, Chaos Attribute. Characteristic: Chaos. Chaos is the ability to harmonize with everything simultaneously. Huyu's eyes widened in amazement. An attack with the attribute is effective. Wait, does that mean I can do it too? Just then, an Opor realizing how formidable Dick Chun was, they decided to charge at Huyu instead. Huyu took out the Hatton's ruined key fragment and clenched it tightly in his palm. Then he got to his feet, raised a fist and yelled, "I think I can take you all down too." It was the power of belief. It works. You've got to be kidding me. It was because of the faint divine power remaining in the key that the actors noticed. Seeing the situation turn sour, they charged forward all at once. Not to be outdone, Huyu called for Deokchun to jump on him, ready to combine their strengths. And so the man and frog duo fused their powers to sweep the battlefield. Although they had a way to defeat the Ectors, their numbers were overwhelming and endless. Huyu fought until dawn but still had 11.3 of his stats absorbed. As a result, Dylan's first seal was broken. Huyu lay sprawled on the ground, his eyes sunken with dark circles and his body gaunt as if he'd been drained dry. I honestly can't believe it. It was that grueling, and the seal still hasn't been completely undone. As I expected, I need a weapon, one that contains divine power. Although I can destroy them with my bare hands, there are too many blind spots since I can only use one hand. This wouldn't be an issue if I had a weapon. I need to check the shop to see if there's anything I can combine with this key. Could it be modified into a weapon? Just then, a one-horned wolf suddenly appeared before Huyu, growling with bloodlust. It immediately leaped at Huyu. Huyu sat up and hugged the one-horned wolf tightly, his eyes welling up with tears. "Wolfie, I missed you so much. This is how it should be. We should have been able to grab onto the monsters." Huyu fumbled around for a moment. Then with his bare hands, he crushed the life out of the creature. The monster died before it could even process what was happening. What a scumbag, toying with a wolf's feelings only to discard it. The other one-horned wolves witnessed this and were somewhat disgusted. They instinctively backed away as Huyu flashed a sinister grin. "Ha ha 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 ha! Come here, now I'm going to pet all of you until I'm satisfied." And so a great massacre took place. After Huyu eliminated 31 horned wolves, night fell once again. But this time he was no longer on the defensive and had already prepared a weapon. This was also the moment for a skill to shine. The night vision skill he acquired back on the 5th floor, a key part of his level progression, finally came in handy. His weapon was a self-made holy mace. The crafting process was extremely simple. First he put the key fragment into a leather pouch, then filled the empty space with sand. Finally he tied the head to a stick and it was done. Brimming with confidence, Huyu proactively charged and attacked the Ectors. Each one only took a single swing of the mace. Before long, Huyu had defeated 100 Ectors. A notification from the game system then appeared. All Ectors have been eliminated. Overjoyed, Huyu raised his hands in celebration before lighting a campfire to rest. He looked at the mace he had crafted. He mused to himself with satisfaction. "I failed to maintain the second seal, but it'll be fine. There's no way the seal will be broken again. From now on, I can rest at night. Deokchun, this is all thanks to you. Without you, I would have never known. I never would have figured out that I needed to attack with an element." Huyu then had a moment to worry about the others. Now that I think about it, the kids will soon reach the 8th floor in their tower climbing journey, and they don't have elemental attacks like me. Will they fail? What if they reach the 9th floor without knowing this method? Huyu immediately opened the community tab to check from the posts. It seemed like everyone was still on the 8th floor. Huyu could breathe a sigh of relief, but just in case, he wanted to be prepared. Before they arrived here and before he could finish, he decided to share the information immediately. Just as the post went up, someone suddenly appeared. A person named Lee Jun-sok sent him a friend request. Lee Jun-sok. As I recall, he was the one who left a kind comment on my strategy post. After checking the person's information, Huyu seemed very pleased. This person had posted. As Huixu's tactical experience was reevaluated, his credibility rose, and just then, a game system notification popped up. The contribution rate for the tactician title has surpassed. Congratulations! A new stat has been established, Luck +5. The luck stat is applied separately from other conventional stats. Luck brings you rare opportunities and brilliant flashes of sudden powerful intuition. Do not ignore any signs. Huyu was wondering, so if this new stat actually worked, when suddenly a golden light appeared over the option to accept Lee Jun-sok's friend request. Huyu had planned to decline, but if this was a sign of his newfound luck, he would be a fool not to follow it. The moment they became friends, Lee Jun-sok sent a message. "Are you pretty princess?" Huyu shamelessly replied, "The pretty princess, the people's fairy, is here. Let your desire guide you closer to me." Deokchun felt sick just looking at the message while Lee Jun-sok continued, "I'm very eager to speak with someone who knows the truth about Bionean. I heard many stories from my late father, Asel, who passed away back when he was part of the new generation in the 9 Dragons Guild." Hearing this, Huyu was utterly astonished. The new generation referred to those who were nurtured to become the next core force of the major guilds. Their training and equipment are incredibly expensive. The Nine Dragons Guild is the largest and most influential among the major guilds. Lee Junseok then continued, I was very impressed with the guidance from Pretty Princess. Please accept this. I'm certain it will be useful. Upon receiving the item, Huyu was astounded. It was a guide for the 13th floor, a key part of his tower climbing strategy. Lee Junseok added, I believe Pretty Princess shares my goal. I despise the major guilds that murdered my older brother, but it's likely no one will believe me. At that exact moment, a glaring red notification from the game system appeared. It read, a confession of truth and emotion from Lee Junseok has been sent to Pretty Princess, proving that the sender cannot lie. Huiyu's jaw dropped in shock. This was a pledge item worth a staggering 5,000 points that could even be used in the court. He's that rich, yet he has no info, Huisu thought. But this means I can trust him and this guide, right? Those wretched major guilds. I'll deal with every last one of you. Huiyu then posted the guide for the 13th floor on the community forum. The major guilds believed he was on the 9th floor, so this would throw them off his trail for a while. Huiyu then focused on completing the 9th floor, aiming to accelerate his tower climbing level progression to the 10th floor as fast as possible. On the 6th night, Huiyu performed one final check before his battle with Delin on the 7th night. Thanks to focusing on his level progression, his main skills had improved significantly. This gave him some peace of mind. Now it was time to open and synthesize new skill boxes. Huiyu currently had 5 low-grade skill boxes which could grant skills from F rank to D rank. He had no idea what he would get. After a moment of heartfelt prayer alongside a Dokchun, Huiyu went for it. The first skill he obtained was Play Dead, a D rank skill. What a completely useless skill. Huiyu quickly composed himself. Haha, can't expect a winner on the first try. He turned to his companion. Dokchun, you're shui. My lucky charm, so wish me good fortune for luck and riches. The second skill box revealed Style and Posing, an E rank skill, and Dumb Defensive Curl, an F rank skill. Both were absolute garbage. Huiyu was beyond furious, cursing up a storm. Damn it, what the hell is this with luck? My foot, I was a moron for even expecting anything. Dokchun, standing nearby, couldn't hold back his laughter and was laughing so hard his sides hurt. At that very moment, a golden light flashed and a notification appeared. Your luck is arriving. Congratulations, you have received, a unique skill. The luck stat has been activated. Congratulations, you have received a new, one-of-a-kind skill. Unleashing D rank. Mana Release, which gathers and unleashes mana. Congratulations, you've acquired the E rank skill. Love Tap, increasing damage dealt. Huyuk's eyes lit up like headlights. He had finally obtained something useful for his level progression. Next up, that would be a job for his S-rank synthesis skill. By the 7th day, Huyuk had defeated 100 one-horned wolves and used up the entire novice kit. With only one more one-horned wolf to kill, night would fall. Huyuk was prepared. He was thoroughly prepared, so he struck without hesitation. The 7th night arrived. Delkin's seal was broken, and a light emanating from the moonlight shot down to the earth, gradually shattering the chains on Delkin. However, the game system registered an error. Only 2 out of 7 seals were broken. Although he wasn't completely free, Huyuk could already feel the immense power of the approaching boss. In this crucial stage of his tower climbing journey, can he possibly succeed? Stay tuned to find out.